This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bershus, my very dear Yedid, Rosh Hashiva, Meir Shlita. It's mamish kedai to come, just to be able to see Adam Gadol and to be nene from my friendship with the Rosh Hashiva. Mamish kemayim panim al panim, kein lebnei Adam el chaveroi, whatever Rabbi Bronstein said. B'chlal, Chazal say, Divrei Chachamim l'daber b'lashon guzma, that Chachamim are allowed to exaggerate. So we obviously see the Rosh Hashiva is a great Chacham because he mamish exaggerated so much, he must be such a big Chacham. But
in Chaz Shalom steht Mikzas Shvache befonu. I don't say Mikzas Shvache, I was only on Mikzas. But after the Rav leaves, we could be mamshik.
So I want to speak about a subject which is very dear to me, and also I think it's very worthwhile to hear in the yeshiva of young Bachrim, and we all consider ourselves young Bachrim. I would like to consider myself also Smach Bachar B'Yaldusecha, and this is a subject that could give us a tremendous chizuk. It's very interesting. Every Yom Tif we commemorate basically one Nes, Pesach we commemorate Yetzias Mitzrayim. And Sukkot we commemorate Anani HaKavod. And Shavuos we commemorate the giving of the Torah. And Chanukah, all of a sudden, there are two miracles. There's the miracle of the oil that was supposed to last for 1 day and it lasted for 8 days. And then you have the miracle of the Milchama. And the question is, what are you commemorating? 1 day for the Milchama, maybe 7 days for the Neiros. It's complicated. What exactly are we commemorating? Is it the Shemen? Is it the Milchama? Is it a war that there was no way we could have won? The Rebbe Shem gave us Siyata D'Shmaya and we won it anyway. Was it that we really needed a lot of oil and we had very little oil and the Rebbe Shem gave us miraculously 8 days? What exactly are we commemorating? It's a big confusion. What exactly is Chanukah? Is there a way to try to explain how the two miracles somehow are connected and they bring out one idea? In other words, a Yom Tif usually commemorates one Nes. So what exactly are we commemorating on Chanukah? The Gemara says they found enough oil for 1 day and it lasted for 8 days. In Al Nisim we talk about the military victory. So how do we reconcile this? B'chlal, we all know the famous question that usually in Yiddishkeit, in Judaism, we don't just celebrate miracles. If you're going to celebrate miracles, you could have a Yom Tif every single day of the year. I mean, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, 10 miracles took place every single day in the Beis HaMikdash. The column of smoke that went up from the Mizbeach, it never wavered in the wind. So maybe we should have a column of smoke day. Every 17th day of the Omer, we should go to the Rosh Hashiva's house. He should make a big barbecue. And we should make the smoke of the barbecue go mamish straight up with that. Everyone's going to be blowing. One guy on this side, that guy's blowing, and we're going to have a special chepsa shel mitzvah that makes the smoke go straight up, and we should commemorate the miracle of the straight up smoke day. We don't commemorate such a miracle. What? Yeah, you want to? You do? No. So we're up to something, right? Or it says the meat in the Beis HaMikdash did not rot. So we should have during the 9 days mamish fleish. We should make a siyum and we should have tons of meat. We should have a Yom Tif that to commemorate that the basar never rot. We don't do that. It's not such a big deal that in the Beis HaMikdash miracles took place. That's the Rebbe Shem is a kol yachal. To misha yomer l'shemen sheyadlik yomer l'chomet sheyadlik. It's not really worthy of commemoration when something supernatural happens. So what exactly is so important about the fact that the oil lasted for 8 days? So what? It lasted for 8 days. Rebbe makes miracles for us all the time. And b'chlal, the second most well-known question about Chanukah, besides the Beis Yosef's kasha, is Pnei Yeshua's kasha, right? Who wants to say over the Pnei Yeshua's kasha? Right, the kasha of, you want to say it over? The kasha is if most of Klal Yisrael are tamei, right? The halacha is tuma is hutra b'tzibur. You see, they know it. Just they want to give me a chance to say over. But there's a concept tum hutra b'tzibur. Tum hutra b'tzibur means that the majority of Klal Yisrael is tamei. You're allowed to do the avodah, but tuma. In fact, the Pnei Yeshua says it's not even a hiddur to do the avodah b'tahara. It's not even better. It's not even more exemplary. It's not even more l'chachila. So why did we need the miracle b'chlal? What's the purpose of the miracle? We could have taken tamei oil every day. We could have gone to the Beis Mikdash, used tamei oil, and it would have been kosher l'chachila, b'datz, eda charedis. Every bezdin in the world would have given mamish kosher l'mahadrin. Why did the Rivan Shem have to make the miracle of oil? What was the tachlis of it? Okay. Let's talk about another inyan. We know that Chanukah and Purim are very different, right? You're masking to that? Guys, Chanukah and Purim are very, very different. The way we celebrate Chanukah, besides the Al Nisim, that's where the similarities end, Chanukah, of course, we celebrate physically, and Chanukah we celebrate spiritually. We say Hallel, we say Al Nisim, and Purim we celebrate physically. Yeah? And why? Why is this difference in the way that we observe Chanukah and Purim? So the famous Levush, that what?
One tried to take away our physical, and one tried to take away our... That's what the opposite.
Oh.
That's what we fought it.
Gavalda. What's this Chashuv Bacher's name?
Aaron.
Aaron? So Rabbi Aaron is saying, over the Levush, that by Chanukah, the Yevanim try to take away the religion. They try to take away Ruchnias. They try to be Lahashkicham Tarasechel, Avir Mechuk Kavetzinech. They try to take away the Torah. So since they try to take away the Torah, so the way we celebrate with Torah and mitzvahs. Purim, what they try to do? So Purim, they try to annihilate it physically, right? Lahashmid, Lareg, Uliabed. And therefore, on Purim, we celebrate physically the Mishta of a Simcha. Yeah? But let's dig a little deeper. Let's try to analyze a little bit more, if we're allowed to. L'chara, we're allowed to. Why did the Rebbeinu Shem allow that in the times of Chanukah, the Yevanim were allowed to come and say, you can't learn Torah, you can't do Bris Milah, you can't observe Rosh Chodesh, and they weren't trying to attack us physically. In other words, in times of Chanukah, the Rebbeinu Shem allowed our physical lives to be protected. However, he allowed the Yevanim to try to be oiker, at least to attempt to be oiker Ruchnias. And in the times of Purim, the Rebbeinu Shem was not allowing them to be oiker Torah mitzvahs, but our lives were in danger. Why did the Hashgacha Elyoina? Why did Hashgacha Pratis have? Why did the Rebbeinu Shem allow these two different gezeros? Right? I think we're allowed to ask that question. We have to try to understand. Whatever happens in this world, the Rebbeinu Shem is doing it. So we're at least entitled to try to understand why the Rebbeinu Shem is doing it. So Levush is explaining why we celebrate Chanukah spiritually, because of what the Yevanim try to do. And why do we celebrate Purim physically? Because of what Haman tried to do. But why did the Rebbeinu Shem allow Haman to act in one way and allow the Yevanim to act in another way? So there's a Bach. They just found the first printing of the Bach. If anybody wants to buy it, it's available for purchase in the auction by the Bayis Chadash. By the way, does anybody know where the Bach had his first shul? The Bach was a Rav in Krakow. He started off, he had a shul in Mezhbizh, where the Baal Shem ultimately was. The first shul in Mezhbizh is the shul of the Bach. Interesting, And then the Bach was a Rav in Belz. This is hundreds of years before, it's very interesting. But anyway, the Bach says like this. This is the revelation of the Bach. Says the Holy Bach that if the Rebbeinu Shem allowed different gezeros, then there has to be a siba for it. What was the siba? What was the cause that in the times of Chanukah, the Rebbeinu Shem allowed the Yevanim to be oiker, the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash? Again, the Yevanim came and they said, look, you have a Beis HaMikdash, we're closing up shop. No more Beis HaMikdash. No more avodah. No more menorah. No more mizbeach. Says the Bach, a Giloi. He's mamish reveals this because it's unclear where in Chazal it says this Yisoid. The Bach says that the Kohanim who were doing the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, they were nisrashel in the avodah. They slackened off. They weakened off. In other words, avodah, they came to Shachris. But if Shachris was 7:30, they came to Shachris 7:32, and they put on their tefillin, by 7:36, and until they, rubbed their eyes at 7:37, they started brachas, and they ended up, they would maybe skip some of the Psukei de Zimra, and then they would be shtickle lagging behind. So when the Chazan started Shemona Esrei, they weren't quite up to it. And the Mishnah Berurah, you obviously have to ask your Rosh Hashiva, but the shita of the Mishnah Berurah is that it's only considered davening with a minyan if you start Shemona Esrei with the tzibur. In other words, if you start Shemona Esrei when the tzibur is up to Atachoinen, you're a Gavaldig, a Jew. You're wonderful. And Mamish Hashkadosh Baruch Hu loves you. It's just you didn't daven with the minyan that day. So it's a little bit of a, so the person has to be nischazik and mezuras in the morning. As soon as the alarm rings, you want to book to shul. You want to get there with your tefillin on, so you could say brachas and you can say the whole Psukei de Zimra, because you want to make sure you accomplish the main objective of davening with the minyan, which is starting Shemona Esrei with the tzibur. So back in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim did the avodah. They came every single day, but they were shtickle nisrashel. They slackened off a little bit. So says the Bach, they slackened off in the avodah. So the Rebbe Shalom said, you don't really want to do the avodah, so don't do the avodah. I'm going to send them the Yevanim, and they're going to close up shop. You want to weaken? You want to slacken? There are paths in life. There are patterns in life. Nothing in life is static. Nothing in life plateaus. Either you're going up or you're going down. And, we always know that. Everybody knows the Gra. The Gra says you could either go up or you could go down. It seems like either you're going up really, really with intense velocity, or, there's very strong and intense movement. Another, it has to be the Hadraga. But it's quick. It's fast-paced. You have to pick a direction. Because the Kohanim were Nisrashel, and the Rebbe Shalom says, okay, we'll close up shop. So says the Bach, so what happened? How are we going to regain the Avodah? The Kohanim are going to go and they're going to be Moiser Nefesh. They're going to risk their lives to get the Avodah back. They're going to fight a war to get the Avodah back. So the Rebbe Shalom says, oh, you Taka want the Avodah? I'll give you the Avodah back. And we're going to talk about that. The Bach says, but in the times of Purim, what was the Avera Klal Yisrael did in the times of Purim? They were nene from the Suda B'Achashverosh. They had a illicit hana. They shouldn't have eaten at the Suda, and they ate at the Suda. So therefore, the Rebbe Shalom says, you're going to eat at the Suda, your guf is going to be nene, so Haman's going to come, he's going to make a gzer, lahashmed la'regul li'abed. So Klal Yisrael, they do tshuva. How do they do tshuva? They fast for 3 days. So Rebbe Shalom says, okay, you're masakein the chait, so therefore I'm going to give you a Yom Tov of Purim, and you celebrate b'mishta v'simcha. But let's analyze Chanukah for a moment. What was the Avera of the Kohanim? They were Nisrashel. By the way, Rabbi Gedalia Shor in this week's Parsha, he says that the whole episode of Dinah and Shechem is very similar to the Gzeros of the Yevanim. The Yevanim wanted to be Metame, the Kedusha of Klal Yisrael. They said every woman who gets married, Tibael, Lehegma, and Latafsar, Tchila, that's similar to what Shechem did to Dinah. Now, says Rabbi Gedalia Shor, the same way the Kohanim and the Beis Hamikdash were Nisrashel and the Avodah, Chazal say Yaakov Avinu made a neder. He was going to pour oil on the Mizbeach. And he didn't get there quick enough. He, so to speak, was, only Chazal could criticize Yaakov Avinu, but Chazal see that Yaakov Avinu was a little bit Lefi Madregasa in Nisrashel in rededicating that Mizbeach. He was Nisrashel. Chazal say that's what brought about Saras Dinah. So even this inyan of the Kohanim being Nisrashel and the Avodah is Marumas in the week's Parsha. But let's think about what the Rebbe Shalom did. The Rebbe Shalom says, you want to come late to Minyan? Fine. I'll let you come late to Minyan. But whenever you want to come, you could come. Rebbe Shalom didn't say that. The Rebbe Shalom says, you want to come late? Then I'm going to give you a reason that you can't come at all. That's what happened in the times of the Mikdash, where the Kohanim were Nisrashel, and Hashem said, you want to be Nisrashel? We're closing up shop. Finished. You don't want it? Then I don't want it. Even though you only don't want it a little bit, but the way things work in this world is they're patterns. B'derech she'adam roitza leilech. When you start going on a certain road, you don't really want the avodah. Hashem says, no problem. Nothing at all. Zero. We're going to call on the government. We're going to close down the shuls. We're not going to let anyone come to shul. We're not going to let anyone come to the yeshiva. If you don't really, really want it, then I don't want it b'chlal. There are patterns in this world. That's what the Bach is saying. Again, just saying the words of the Bach. Now, we know that the way the Rebbeinu Shalom works is Mida Toiva Meruba. Let's think about it. Mida Toiva Meruba, which means that whatever Mida we see in the Hanhaga HaKadosh Baruch Hu for Einesh exists 500 more times L'Toiva. So what would happen if somebody would say, I do want it. I'm going to be mechazik myself. I'm going to make an effort to try a little bit more, come a tiny bit earlier. How much extra siyata d'shmaya would that person be eligible for? Mamish in l'shaya. Because if in the times of the Mikdash, the Kaim were slightly nisrashel, look what happened, the whole base of Mikdash was shut down, then imagine if somebody said, that's it, I'm starting tomorrow, I'm going to put my best foot forward, and they don't even take this major Kabbalah, they just say 30 more seconds, 1 more minute, a little bit more hischaskus. Imagine what could happen. So let's see, Taka, what happened in the times of Chanukah. So the Kohanim said, we're going to be moister nefesh for the avodah. Hashem says, wow, you moister nefesh for the avodah? Then it has to be, I'm going to give you avodah that's mamish not possible b'teva. So you say, what avodah did Hashem give Klal Yisrael that's not possible b'teva? Hashem says, this little flask of shemen, which is only enough oil to last for 1 day. And the truth is, you don't need anything more. Because even l'charchila, it's good enough. Tumos hutra b'tzibor. I am going to give you such bracha and siyata d'shmaya in your avodas Hashem, once you made the effort, that you're going to light this ner, and it's going to last for 8 days. Question, but it's not necessary. And the answer is, it's mamish not necessary. It's b'chlal not necessary. This is how the world works. This is how the Rebbeinu Shalom operates. It's b'derech she'adam roitza leilech ve'leicha. Whatever direction you want to take in life, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to take the big magnifying glass of Shamayim and say, whatever direction you want, we're headed there. You just tell me where. You just tell me l'toiv or l'mutav, and I'm taking you to the top of either place. Those are the two options. You have to tell me which direction you're going. You want to be Nisrashel? Or you want to be Nischazik? So the question is, why we're commemorating miracles? We don't commemorate miracles. Miracles are not so important. We have so many miracles in the Beis HaMikdash. It's not the miracle that we're celebrating. It's what the miracle represents. The miracle represents that when a Yid strengthens himself in Avodas Hashem, in Tefillah, in Torah, in Midos, in being mizdabek to Arabeim, then the Rebbeinu Shalom gives us such tremendous siyata d'shmaya lemala min ateva she'en kamoyo that nobody ever saw before. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, once you're mechazik, I'm going to let you light the menorah that's supposed to last for 1 day, and it's going to last for 8 days. You know the story about this guy? There's once a mamish meshugin guy. You know, he loved alcohol. He loved beer, whiskey, schnapps, everything, you name it. His favorite time of the week was after Musaf Shabbos. He was la'ela. And he also Purim. Chanukah he wasn't so into. So his family had enough of him because he sold everything in the house to buy alcohol. He sold the chandelier, the chairs, he sold his children, everything. Mamish sold everything. So the family had enough. It's a medrash. And the family said, that's it, we're going to take Dad, and we're going to, while he's sleeping, or while he's drunk, we're going to take him out into the Beis HaKvaros, we're going to dig him a fresh grave, and we're just going to dump him there. The Kachava. It's a true story. It's brought in the Medrash. And the father's laying there in the grave. He's in a drunken stupor. So the Medrash says, all of a sudden, an army came, and the army was stationed in the Beis HaKvaros, and soldiers, they have so much alcohol with them in their caravan. They have mamish bars and she'en kamayim. And all of a sudden, they get a message that an invading troops are coming, and they had to scram, and they left all their alcohol, all their beer and whiskey and schnapps, they left it, mamish, in this guy's kever. And he wakes up, and he opens his eyes, and he's surrounded by mamish, like light, and he said, Gan Eden is even better than I imagined. And the children came a few days later to see how their father is doing. They figured it's time for a levaya, and they see he's drinking like he never drank before. Ad kan l'shayin hamedrash. Ask Michtam Eliyahu, this is the most bizarre medrash in Kol HaTorah. What exactly is the limud of this medrash? Says Michtam Eliyahu, this is the most important limud in Avodas Hashem. The limud is, whatever direction you take in life, whatever you really want in life, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to give you siyato d'shmaya lemala min hateva b'derech she'adam roitza leilech melech v'nasei. If you want to be an alcoholic, you're going to have such siyato d'shmaya to be an alcoholic that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to come and b'nisim v'neflois, he's going to provide you with alcohol that you could never have imagined. Says the Michtam Eliyahu, if this is the siyato d'shmaya that comes to somebody who just wants a davar ra, imagine how much siyata d'shmaya the Rebbeinu Shalom will give somebody who wants to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who wants to improve themselves in limud Torah, in tefillah, in ruchnias. Imagine how much siyata d'shmaya they'll be eligible for. One more story, and then we'll wrap it up. The Gemara Bracha says Maisa about Rav Meir, of course, and Yosi, and another Tana, and they were traveling. And the Gemara says Rav Meir was Dayek Bishma. Rav Meir would always investigate the meaning of somebody's name. So they asked the innkeeper their name, and the innkeeper said, "My name is Kedar." So Rav Meir says, "Oivad, this guy is big trouble. Kedar Tapuchay Sema. This guy is going to bring us big trouble." And the other Tanoam, they didn't pay such careful attention to the guy's name. And he said, by the way, Shabbos is coming, maybe I'll watch your wallet for you. So they gave him the wallet, and Rav Meir didn't trust him with the wallet. So Rav Meir went and he buried the wallet by a kever. Now it was his mazel that the kever was the innkeeper's father. That night, the innkeeper had a dream. Who comes in a dream? The Tata. The Tata said, you won't believe it, there's an amazing wallet resting right by my foot. So the innkeeper went to ask Rav Meir, what do you say about dreams? Rav Meir said, no, don't pay attention to dreams, they're meaningless. No. But meanwhile, Rav Meir went and he stood by the wallet for the whole Shabbos. Fine, that's the story. Ask Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, what is going on over here? Why would the father from the Olam HaEmes come and give the innkeeper a cholam of how to steal somebody's wallet? Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, if somebody really wants to steal, the Rebbeinu Shalom will give such siyata d'shmaya, benisim v'neflois, that from the Olam HaEmes, he'll send down someone who's in the next world and give the person inside how he could be a better ganav. And why exactly is the Gemara giving us eitzos of how to be a better ganav? The Gemara is showing us, because if a person really, really wants to grow in ruchnias, then Midah Toiva Meruba 500 times more. The Midah Toiva of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is 500 times greater. That if somebody wants to grow in Ruchnias, the Rebbeinu Shalom has so many shluchim and ways and methods and avenues of granting a person siyata d'shmaya l'mala min hateva. The only thing we have to do is pick the direction. Where are we headed? What do we really want? You put your best foot forward, with a little hischazkos, with a little strengthening, with a little zrizus, you become eligible to the nace of the Pach HaShemen. When you look at Chanukah, Chanukah is one miracle. It's not the miracle of the Milchama and the miracle of the Shemen. Because we were mechazik ourselves, and we fought to regain the Avodah, Memela, the natural consequence was a supernatural result that we were eligible for Siyata D'Shmaya L'Mala Min HaTeva. So, I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to see this mamish beautiful yeshiva and getting chizuk from the tremendous bachrim over here. And it should give us great chizuk that the whole yisoid of Chanukah is that when we are mechazik ourselves, even a little bit, even kepischo shamachat, that, you know, when we're thinking about what do we have to do, what is our avodah today? Our avodah today is just a tiny bit more. A tiny bit, a little bit more. The Chafetz Chaim always loved to think about the invention of the elevator. Why? I don't think that Chafetz Chaim had an elevator in his house, but he was very happy there was a concept of an elevator. He said, an elevator is Avodas Hashem. You just press the button and you put your best foot forward, and then the Rebbeinu Shem carries you all the way up. So that's what we hope for, and Rebbeinu Shem should give us siyata d'shmaya to give that little bit extra effort and his chazkos, and then Rebbeinu Shem will be mevarich all of us with siyata d'shmaya. And thank you so much for having me in this wonderful yeshiva, Shkoyach Rosh Yeshiva, and bracha v'atzlacha.
Amen. Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.